It is Tuesday night, and that means another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. I'm Mike at Marrow4 on Twitter, and once again, as always, joining me is Wes at Painted Bronco on Twitter. How's it going, Wes?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Gonna try and talk a little less than normal. Throat's a little sore, but other than that, pretty good. Just a little lonely without really NCHC hockey going on this past weekend. Got all excited Friday, and then I was like, oh, wait, there's nothing to watch.
No, I think the only series that was this weekend was Denver played, didn't they?
Yep, Denver and Lindenwood.
Yeah, which that went about, I think, as well as we thought it was going to. So
Yeah, I expected a little more, but it still ended up how everyone thought. We're in the Christmas season now. We're in the holiday series and tournament season now, which is kind of the unfortunate lull for fans, but a good lull for the players to take a little break, go see family, and then start to ramp back up again for the most part.
yeah, I mean, there's quite a few guys from the NCHC playing in the World Juniors, so they are in the exhibition stage of that, I believe.
Yeah, I think so because they start on the 26th, 26th or 27th.
I believe there are five. I want to say there's five NCHC players that made it. I know Umberko is playing for Team USA again.
Which is not a shock because I think he was their number one last year, um
Here we go.
and he's probably their number one now.
No, I don't want the. I want the 2023.
We're off to a solid start.
Well, they quit changing things. All right, here we go. Yeah, Umberko for Colorado, representing Colorado College. Sean Behrens, who is wearing the A, representing Denver. Luke Hughes wearing the C, representing Michigan. The only reason I mention him is because he's got the C.
And he's the third of 80 brothers that are probably going to come through with from the Hughes family.
Jack Pert for St. Cloud State. Jackson Blake, North Dakota. Noah Laba, Colorado College. And Red Savage wearing the A from Miami University.
So congrats to those guys on making the team, and hopefully they'll do well. I think last year's juniors team did not live up to expectations for USA hockey, and not the league, just the country as a whole. But there are a lot of tough teams, so that'll be fun to watch if anybody has a chance to watch the juniors. I know NHL Network broadcasts a lot of the games, so if you have that, great. If not, I'm not going to condone it, but there are ways to watch the tournament.
Didn't last
Otherwise,
year's World Juniors get canceled or postponed?
it was postponed, and then they finished it in the summer.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Like late summer. I think they finished it before training camp opened up for teams.
Okay. I was gonna say, I remember it being weird and like it not really matter. Like the only reason I know that it was weird is because that was part of the reason why Michigan canceled their GLI game with Western, was because they had so many players at the World Juniors, and then it turned up it didn't even matter because they had postponed or canceled.
Yeah, I think one country had a COVID outbreak, or somehow it got a little bit weird, and so then they postponed it, and then they finished it up at a later date. So I think Canada. Well, actually, I don't even know if Canada won that one.
They did.
That's what I thought, but
They beat Finland.
that's right. Because
Uh,
I was just happy that Finland made it.
do, 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 do. Trying to double check here real quick though. Make sure. All right. Either way, moving on. We've got some. We got one holiday tournament that we care about, and then some end of the year festivities as far as what takes place over the winter break with some almost a full non-conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving Eve, and Thanksgiving Eve.
Thanksgiving
Or New Year's
we're
Eve, and New Year's Eve.
we're past that there, bud.
You know what? It's
Good God, once your child arrives, I don't know what you're gonna do if you're this much of a mess already.
I think that's why I'm a mess already. Just constant fear and excitement, stress, all rolled up into one.
So I think we should just because it's more of a non-conference schedule, and then there is the Great Lakes Invitational. I think we should go through the non-conference schedule and then cover the GLI last.
Yeah, see,
Just because
what you get for talking shit. You can't speak either.
Well, we already knew this. Yeah, I think we should cover the GLI last, and then go through the non-conference games first, just because there's something a little bit more at stake for Western Michigan in the GLI versus some of these other teams.
Yeah, we can do that. Also, while we're on that scheduling note, there will not be an episode next Tuesday because I will be at the GLI. So there is that.
Look at you, fancy pants.
Well, I had to spend that money that I got back from Nashville somewhere. And why wouldn't it be on another hockey game?
Might as well. Speaking of which, I still got to sell those tickets. Anyway,
let's just go. Let's start with Friday, December 30th. A single exhibition game for St. Cloud State taking on Manitoba. And that's an early. I mean, all of these. There's a lot of early start times too, but that is looks like a 2:00 start, or 3:00,
no,
1:00.
According to NCHC, it's
noon, but that's
because they do mountain, so it'd be 1:00 Central, 2:00 Eastern start. There's not much to be said about that. I think Manitoba would come down and play UMD every once in a while. It's a Canadian college hockey team versus an American college hockey team. I think St. Cloud just wanted to get a game in for the guys that potentially weren't going to the World Juniors, and guys that don't get to play as much.
And I mean,
so they'll probably.
That's a long time to sit too and not really do anything. You kind of get antsy and wanna hit somebody that's not a teammate.
Well, maybe some teammates you really do want to keep hitting.
Maybe. What is happening?
So I think that's going to be, a good thing for St. Cloud, just to get some get a game under them, get some of the younger guys that aren't playing. Maybe the third string goalie, split a period a piece for each goalie. And it's an exhibition, so it doesn't really matter if they win or lose, other than for pride.
I mean,
that's about it.
It could really go either way, though. You definitely don't want to be sleeping on it, because how many times have we seen, speaking of which, they play the next day, the under 18 USA development team come in and steal a win from a college program. So, and you don't want to start that new year off on a loss to a potential opponent that you should be able to beat, and there's a reason they're setting it up as an exhibition game. Let's just be
Yeah. And
honest with
I have
ourselves
my
here.
opinions once we get to the North Dakota and development team. But yeah, I think I've seen UMD lose to a Canadian team in overtime, but St. Cloud should win that. It's just good. You're going to play hard. You should win. You should expect to win. But I think the coaching staffs in these exhibition games are going to be more so getting the guys some time in between, because otherwise you're off for 3 weeks or something, whatever it is, 2-3 weeks before you play again between games.
Yeah, for sure. But it's definitely good to get at least something going there. Get the legs loose. Make sure that you're working on the right things that you're trying to practice in between that time.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping into the regular slate, though, Miami will host Niagara. This seems like a really good potential series for Miami to kind of get things going again. They're still struggling. They gotta figure something out there. Niagara is a team generally comes in, plays pretty decent. It feels like a series that Miami could definitely win. It's a full series. They've got a regular time start. They start at 7 o'clock Eastern time. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Miami can do something here and get finish 2022 off with a win or two, just to get them going and build some confidence for that program who has been struggling a lot lately.
I do think that I think it was last year Niagara played North Dakota and they played them tough. So they're going to play everybody tough. But they seem like two programs that are on a similar level, even though Niagara's sitting fourth in the Atlantic Hockey, behind RIT, American, and Sacred Heart, which that kind of surprises me. But Niagara's 9-5-2, which is a respectable enough record. Uh, I think it'll be a good battle, and it'll. I think the one thing that'll show is how much, for as good as Red Savage is, how much does he mean to this team? That's going to be the big indicator.
Who was
Where if they
in?
just absolutely bomb, then we know he means a lot more than we already thought he meant to this team.
I mean, Miami played. Which one was it? I want to say it was North Dakota, and he was out with an injury. And I think they ended up stealing one of those games.
Yeah, I think they actually did steal one of those games because
Yeah,
I was at
They lost
home.
7-1 and then won 4-3 on the Saturday. But I know he was out one of those games, if not both of them. Let me double check. Ow, that hurt. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think he was out that entire weekend. So, I mean, they've won games without him, and they played pretty well both games, even though the score really doesn't say so the first game. I mean, down 7-1. But he is definitely one of, if not the best player on that team. Pearson's been playing pretty well as of late. Coming up, making big saves when they've needed that. He's a solid goaltender.
I think he's more than a solid goaltender. He just doesn't have a lot of help around him.
They was that their last series? No, they also. I mean, they're coming off of a big win against St. Cloud. They split with them. They lost 7-3 the first night, but put up 5 and blanked St. Cloud on the 10th to wrap up their first half of the season. So I mean, they've gotten big wins this year over good teams. We know that St. Cloud has had some of the better goaltending in the country, and to put up that kind of number, and then for your goalie to stand on his head and blank that team, I mean, it shows they're definitely, they can play the right way from time to time. They're just not consistent enough to really compete for those home ice spots that are so coveted in the NCHC.
Yeah, and you nailed it. It's the consistency. They just don't have it. But when you have your two conference wins are against North Dakota and St. Cloud. St. Cloud is a lot more impressive this year than North Dakota, because they're not very far behind North Dakota. But still, with the prestige and everything, that's a boost to the fans, just because it doesn't really matter where those teams sit, based off of past years. Those names are recognized, especially the North Dakota name. So I think that's going to be a very good series, um, and a good one for Miami to kind of restart the season after a little bit of time off.
Next series up is St. Lawrence at Omaha. My cat appears to have some opinions on this matchup here. Omaha coming off of being swept by by Colorado College, so they're looking to get back on the winning track. I mean, this St. Lawrence team has not played bad. They're 500, 5-3 in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
They swept Colorado College earlier this year, actually, pretty much to start the year at home, but they'll be traveling to Omaha. We know that Omaha is a pretty tough place to play. So it's definitely a team that they could use to get off that skid that they hit. And they're a team that can be deadly. I mean, they put a hurting on Western Michigan when we were down there in Omaha.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
they did.
and their goaltender played great. I mean, he honestly the last two series the most prolific offense in college hockey has been kind of stifled here as of late. But I mean, Western did get 6 the first game against Omaha, so we can't say that they're completely without goal scoring, but it has been limited the last 2 series. And Omaha came away with some big points there. It'll be an interesting matchup for sure. I think both teams are looking to keep up what they've been doing. I mean, yes, I did just say that Omaha was coming off of being swept, but other than that, I mean, they've been playing pretty solid. They want to get going in the right direction to start the year. St. Lawrence has on a 3-game win streak, playing Yale and Brown December 9th and 10th. I mean, so I think this should kind of favor Omaha. Honestly, I don't know that. What is that hockey or the
They're
ECAC
yeah.
is really that all that great of a conference? Yes, they do have the number 2 team in Quinnipiac. A couple,
And then they also have Providence in there.
or at least they were
No,
at one point.
never mind. My bad. Yeah, Quinnipiac, and I think Harvard is ranked at or was ranked at one point.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely some decent teams, but they just play a different kind of style. I don't know that it really competes well against the NCHC, and really saying that they did sweep Colorado College, but Colorado College is playing a lot different than they were at the beginning of the year, so I don't really know that that's really comparable anymore. So another solid matchup that I just think it should lean towards Omaha there, really.
I think it should lean towards Omaha too, just because they're on home ice. And you have to look at non-conference who they've played, and in conference, Omaha's played 2 more games, but those 2 games were ties. Otherwise, you take away those 2 technical ties, they're the same team. They're both 8-8. So I think this should actually be a very good matchup between the 2 teams and pretty close. Again, like you said, I just think the style of play that the ECAC plays is not quite conducive to the way that the NCHC plays. Quinnipiac, they have enough talent that they can hang, but their style, it's just not the same style playing the teams that Omaha plays. And Omaha's, I mean, they're they're a solid enough team every year. They're constantly, they could be, on a really good year, they could be as high as 3, but they really are as low as 6. They're never really 7 or 8.
No.
So I think this actually might be one of the more entertaining matchups of the weekend,
It definitely
especially
could
for
be,
Pro
for sure.
Series.
And then another ECAC NCHC matchup here when Providence visits Colorado College. I guess the big thing to note is Colorado College is going to be without two of their better players right now for this matchup. And Berko is going to be playing with Team USA, as will Laba. Laba's, I believe, a freshman who's come in and really kind of shown to be a leader of that team. They do have Hunter McCowan still, who can be dangerous on the power play, so you don't want to be a man down against this team. Matt Vernon is a solid goaltender. He should have the crease for this matchup and is capable of winning these games. Again, I mean, they're pretty close as far as records go.
Mm-hmm.
Again, was it Colorado College is slightly in the negative at 8-9-1, and Princeton is 7-6-1. So I mean, really, two teams that are super close to being 500, just either side of it because of ties. So essentially, let's just say that Princeton lost their game and Colorado had won their game. They're both 500 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the biggest storyline there is just really going to be, can Matt Vernon step in and take over that crease for 2 games and be the kind of player that he's supposed to be?
You took the words right out of my mouth, because Umberco's been such an integral part of why Colorado College is 3rd in the NCHC standings. He is, not only has he kept him in games, but in a sense, he's almost stolen a game or two because of how well he's played. But at the same time, this is a different team in front of them. I think it falls more to how well Vernon, after not really playing this year at all, can step into the role. Yeah, he's practicing. Yeah, he's seeing his team in front of him, but it's different than game speed. And how well can he step into that after losing his net to Umberco, who he's going to come back and get his net back because he's playing competitive international games. So what's the mindset of Vernon? Yeah, he wants to play well just to get noticed and everything, but like, well, doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to lose my net. But maybe he can get a little more split time if he plays well. I don't know. This is kind of an interesting series. I think Colorado College has the advantage just because they're at home.
I mean, Friday they definitely do, because Friday it's a late start for the Princeton team. I mean, it's a 7 o'clock Mountain Time game time, but that's 9 o'clock Eastern time where they're used to playing. So it'll be a little bit late for them Friday. Saturday it's a 4 o'clock start Mountain Time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. So that might be more in par with what their body's used to playing. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like, they've made that Saturday. Those are 2 kind of close games to play back to back and have that 3-hour time difference there. So I mean, that's 3 less hours of rest that you're getting in between games.
I think the one thing to keep in mind is the ECAC, they don't play series. So that's going to be kind of an interesting thing too. I don't know if that's going to help them or going to hurt them. I would think potentially help them because they're used to playing. You just look at the December 9th and 10th for Princeton. They played Union on Friday and then they played RPI at home on Saturday. They're playing 2 different teams, 2 different nights. So how does that change their mentality? I think it helps them in a sense. But that's kind of an interesting question when you're used to playing 2 different teams on different nights versus the same team back-to-back nights.
Yeah, and I mean, they're not necessarily playing both of those games at home. I think they do travel. They do sometimes travel in between games. Um, Let me double check here.
Um Uh,
They've had a lot of home
well,
games.
yeah, but when they do travel, so like November 11th and 12th, the 11th they played at Yale, and then the 12th they played at Brown,
Yeah.
and that goes, you know, they'll be home one weekend, but then they're away one weekend, but it's travel. Now, granted, the travel isn't.
No, those were both home
It,
games, but St. Lawrence and the week before that they played. Where the hell am I?
I'm
No.
talking about Princeton.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know what I'm looking at. Don't worry about it. Oh, no, those were both in New Jersey, in Princeton, New Jersey, Union and RPI.
Yep, yeah, those were home, but the Yale and the Brown, those were in
Oh
New
yeah.
Haven and then
Yeah. I
Providence.
mean all that
Yep,
stuff's kind of close and I don't know that
exactly.
they're
And that's what I'm saying. It's they can go. It's not like the NCHC where, I mean,
really the only
if
teams
you
that
were
can
trying,
kind
if
of
you
do home and homes are St. Cloud and Duluth and Denver or North Dakota
uh
maybe or
Denver and Colorado College,
yeah, they're the
they can,
easiest too.
yeah, they're the easiest too. But I mean, these games, no, you go home, sleep in your own bed, and then you go hop on the bus the next morning. You go to the other one. It's not like going to play Colorado College and then you have to go play Omaha or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's a completely different system of scheduling in hockey, which that dynamic is a little bit interesting, playing series against one single team for them versus what we're used to watching. And that would be an interesting question to, if we could figure out somebody who's been in both situations where you play a series versus
I mean,
um
we kind of asked Trevor that last week when we were talking about playing in a holiday tournament. He said, you kind of spend the majority of your time worrying about that first game, and then you might watch a little bit of film or do some game study for that second team. And I think he said like they played better when they had spent like the first 3 days of the week preparing for that first game, and then like a day or two later in the week preparing for that second game, but touched back on that first team. So I mean, they do film study both teams, but it's not necessarily like an even splitter. You're doing a little bit in the morning, more game prep than just an open skater or a morning
well,
skate type deal.
and the thing is, with Trevor's answer, it, it makes sense for the tournament, but it's just a matter of it. It's different when you're in conference play. Where tournament, you have to look at, so you have the one team in front of you, the team that you're playing, and then you have two teams, and you don't know which team you're going to play, whether you win or lose, especially if you're playing the first game. Well, doesn't matter if it's a 14 tournament, if you play the first game or the second game. And that's why the NCAA tournament is so interesting, because you have to prepare for the team in front of you, but then you kind of have a day where you might not know who you play the next game necessarily because they played that day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're definitely looking at multiple teams in the tournament. I'm doing some research here, so that's why you're carrying this a little bit. I think the last one, and those are all the series. Um, St. Thomas and
Mm-hmm.
Duluth play a early game Saturday against St. Thomas. It's a 3 o'clock start time Eastern, 2 o'clock your time. Just an exhibition with St. Thomas. I mean, I think they've. Have you guys played a regular season series with St. Thomas yet, or have you still just
No,
been?
we have not. I think there might be some tie with St. Cloud, and that's why they decided to play them. Um, we'll see how that goes. I mean, I know it's an exhibition, but it's kind of one of those where I'm like, if we lose, that's not a good sign.
I think St. Thomas just split with Ferris. They seem to be playing a little bit better this year. They're still getting used to that full time Division 1 schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, The Leafs are not playing the best hockey either right now. This might be an opportunity for you guys to get right, or even though it's just an exhibition game, it could be a confidence builder for St. Thomas where they can say that, hey, we beat this team that we've struggled with before. Um, we're not out of this yet, and we've just got to play good hockey.
I'm really hoping it's a get right game because now is the time of year where we need to start stepping up and start actually learning how to skate and play hockey. Um, there have been signs of that lately, but that's all they are, is just they're just signs. So I really hope that it is a get right game and we can iron out some things where if I'm watching it and I see, okay, this, even if we don't win, this actually looks like we figured some things out and we worked on things at game speed, then I'll feel a lot better about the loss versus, well, we just got outplayed. We suck. That there that one's going to be interesting to me just watching it as a fan. So hopefully we win. If we lose, hopefully it's a good loss and we actually worked on things. Um, we'll see. I was maybe going to do that, but now I'm going to have, I should say, maybe going to go to that, but now I have puppy duty. So I will just be watching it on TV with my fur niece and nephew, which are the best hockey watching partners that I could ask for.
And the last one is U.S. under 18 team playing an exhibition at North Dakota. Once again, North Dakota has lost this game before. I would just like to point that out.
So is UMD.
And I mean, like pretty recently too. I think I want to say 2 years ago, if not last year.
And I know University of Minnesota has also lost this game. Even though it's an exhibition, it's a trap game. And I know you and I have talked about this before, and this is kind of my opinion on it. It's for whatever college schedules the development team for an exhibition game, it's a lose-lose in a sense. It's a lose for the college because
you got
if
beat
you
by
win,
children.
well, if you win,
you beat up children.
Yeah, you're supposed to win this game.
You are grown men playing children. This is the most
exactly
unfair on paper thing that exists in the world of sports.
And if you lose, like you said, you lost to kids that aren't even in college yet.
You lost to legitimate children. It is the under 18 team. And guess what? Most college players, when they start their freshman season, they're already like 20, if not 21 at some point in the season. Ryan McAllister just turned 21. He's a freshman.
Division 3, they were like 23. So,
I mean,
that's a whole different story.
These are literally adults playing children.
And, it would be tough for me as a player with this series for North Dakota saying you have to get up for this game. You have to beat this team because it's like, of course, coach, we're going to beat them. That's no problem. But these kids, they're coming out because they're trying to get scholarships. They're trying to get noticed. So they're going to get up for this game because they're going to say, hey, look at us, recruit us because we can play with these guys. We can beat these guys. I like it for the kids that are playing in the under 18. I hate it for the colleges because there's just not a good look. You're supposed to win, and if you don't win, the fan base is going to be like, "Oh crap, we just lost to a bunch of children." Now they're very good hockey players, and a lot of them will be playing at Division 1 programs. That's not a doubt. but you're supposed to be more developed hockey players than them. So I never have understood this matchup at all. And I think, it sucks for the kids, but I don't think any colleges should schedule this, at least in NCHC. Maybe out east, but not here. We should be playing better teams. I mean, St. Thomas should, in theory, should be a better team than the under 18 team. In theory. Probably not. But a team like North Dakota, a team like University of Minnesota, a team like UMD, team like Denver should not be playing the development team. It should be, as bad as it sounds, they should be below us. And I know it's exhibition, but they still should be below us.
I mean, they should, but again,
But they haven't been in recent
this is
history.
this is the trap that is this game.
Exactly. It is a trap game.
I mean, it's interesting for sure. I would hope that honestly, I hope that North Dakota loses this stupid game again. I hate North Dakota.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. I mean, if not, it's not going to help them in the standings where they're only 5 points ahead of Miami. Now, we're only 1 point ahead of North Dakota in the standings. Western and UMD are tied, but we're still ahead of North Dakota.
Well, we just got swept by North Dakota, and they are our first games back after the holiday break.
Oh, good luck.
Oh, that's why I saw Saturday, Sunday. St. Cloud and Minnesota play Saturday, Sunday in January. That's what it was. I got pulled ahead a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
when I was looking at the next weekend of games.
Maybe I'll have to go to that Sunday game.
All right, on to the most exciting part, at least for me, the GLI.
Yes.
It's honestly shaping up to be a pretty good GLI, but let's go through a little bit of history first. So this will be the 55th edition of the GLI, as the last 2 years didn't really count. 2020 was canceled due to COVID, and that was the first year that they hadn't had a GLI since its inception. And last year it was a whole to do of it not being able to be played at Little Caesars Arena, so it was supposed to be held at Munner and Yost Ice Arenas. Michigan cancels their game against Western. It's a whole thing. Just a big mess. This will be the first year that it's held at Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids, Michigan. A couple other places it has been held. The Olympia Stadium, where the Red Wings played before Joe Louis Arena. It was also held at Joe Louis Arena for a long time. And it has also been played outdoors at Comerica Park. I was at that tournament, and Western won that one. All four teams have some experience in the GLI. The two most experienced teams competing in this tournament are, of course, Michigan Tech, who serves as the host and has served as the host every year of its inception. Michigan State has participated in 47 years worth of the GLI and has 12 titles. Michigan Tech has 11 GLI championships, most recently winning it in 2019, which was the last one that was played. Of fourth team invites, because it's generally the standard bearers for the longest time were Michigan Tech, Michigan, who served as a co-host when they realized that this was a good thing and they wanted a piece of it, and Michigan State being the consistent first invite non-co-host team. The hell was I just saying? I literally forgot what I was saying in the middle of saying it because I was annoyed that Michigan had to have some part in this stupid thing.
You were talking about the most experienced teams.
Oh, Western actually has the most wins of a non-regular invite. That's what it was. They've been invited, I want to say 6 times, I believe, with 3 wins. There is a banner hanging in Lawson that has a 2021 GLI championship as they were the as they beat Michigan State last year, who then I believe beat Michigan Tech. After Michigan Tech, I believe, lost to Michigan. So Western was the only one who won their
And didn't lose.
and didn't lose their GLI games last year. 3 out of the 4 teams this year are currently ranked. Western is barely holding on at 18 or 19, depending on which one we're looking at. I believe the USHO did not release a new ranking, so they're 18 there, 19 in the USA Hockey. Michigan Tech is at 17 in USHO, 16 in USA Hockey, and Michigan State is, I believe, 11 in both, coming in as the highest ranked team in this tournament. Michigan Tech has a win over Minnesota State this year, so big win there. They just split with Lake Superior State this last weekend. Western was most recently swept by North Dakota. In our most recent game, we have not played since those games. We have a win over Ferris earlier this year, which was a kind of exciting game as we were down, I believe, 3-0 and came back to win that game, I believe, 6-3. Ferris State, who is currently sitting at a 7-2 record, they just split with St. Thomas. They do not have a GLI win in their 2 previous appearances. They finished 4th both times. And Michigan State split with Michigan, I believe, in their most recent, and is playing some pretty decent hockey this year. They definitely made some improvements over the last couple of years. The first round matchup will be Michigan Tech versus Western and Ferris State versus Michigan State, with the winners playing each other the following day and the losers playing each other the following day. So 2 days, 4 games, lots of fun for fans. Honestly, it's shaping up to be a really good tournament. All these teams are going to be looking to win this thing. It's a pretty big deal, and a whole lot of fun. Honestly, I went to the outdoor one. I don't believe I've been to another one, but I usually watch it. It's a fun tournament.
Yeah, I think just looking at the matchups, I think Michigan State has the little easier matchup, but it should be a lot of fun for just fans to watch some good hockey, with Michigan Tech being second in the CCHA. Ferris, they're right in the middle of the pack, but then Michigan State, they're third in the Big Ten, behind Penn State and Minnesota, which that's a big improvement. And when we were on our trip, Michigan State was playing Miami, and
They were putting a
they
thumping on Miami.
yeah, they look pretty good. Now, a lot of teams can look good against Miami, but they looked really good against Miami.
I mean, they did. They were crushing it, but I believe there was quite a few power play goals. A lot of opportunities that Miami had just kind of thrown away. Miami was not playing great at that time.
No, they were not. Yeah, the only team that is 500 or lower is Ferris State, because Michigan Tech is 12-7-1. Ferris State's 8-8-2. Western, I don't quite know their record.
10-9-1. We are hovering barely
just
above
right
500.
above. And then Michigan Tech's 11-5-3.
Yeah, I mean it's going to take some work for Western to win this tournament. They're going to need to make improvements. They can't play the way they did the last weekend of the regular season. That's just, I mean, for sure. That can't happen. It's going to take some, I mean, we got decent goaltending, but we struggled in other areas for whatever reason. against North Dakota. We've got to get back to that game plan of being able to get the puck up ice, being strong on the puck, not turning it over, and not allowing the other team to just kind of skate in on our goaltender and take 3, 4, 5 chances at putting the puck behind him, because he'll make the stop. He'll make some stops, but we got to get the puck away from, either he's got to cover more or we got to get the puck out and not leave it in those dangerous zones so that they can just jam it past him, because those are really the goals that he's been unfortunate about giving up, are them second, third, fourth, multiple chance opportunities of just poking.
Well, after the second save, anything that you get out of your goalie after the second save, it's a miracle. He's supposed to make 2, and then you better have that puck cleared. And that's the thing where I think if Western were going to win this tournament, it's tighten up on the defensive end. Not even the goaltending. Yes, you need good goaltending, but tighten up a little bit on the defensive end. You know your top line is going to score. That's not a question. You know you're going to get scoring from everywhere, but you know you're going to provide the offense. You need to have that defense to prevent the other team and then transition that defense into offense. And we saw them do that, other than the little laps that they had against Northeastern. They were able to play solid defense and transition that into offense. And they might have lost a little bit of that because they got a little too hyped on the points. It's like, we're just going to outscore everybody. You're not going to outscore everybody. That's just not the way that it works. So I think it'll be, especially in the first matchup against Michigan Tech, where, yeah, Mankato is not quite the team that they have been, but to be second in the CCHA, Bemidji being a solid team, as we've talked about, it's gonna be tough. You're not gonna outscore them, and the top teams in the CCHA, uh, if you're gonna try and outscore them, well, they play a little more wide open. They're probably gonna be able to keep up with you. You look at what Mankato did last year for basically the whole year, except for the national championship game
Yeah.
against Denver. Um,
Oh,
so Western needs to play more the NCHC style of hockey instead of the CCHA style of hockey.
yeah, we've got to come out. We got to play big. We got to play heavy. We got to play defense for the sake of defense and not just to reacquire the puck. Like, it's got to be a matter of keeping guys to the outside, jumping on loose pucks, moving it up the wall efficiently or effectively, making sure that when we do clear the puck, we're doing it with intent. Whether that's a pass or just to get it to the neutral zone and hopefully release that pressure. But a lot of times you see these kind of weak attempts and it doesn't even make it past the blue line and the team's just right back on top of you. We've got to limit those kind of opportunities so that we don't have tired legs out there, and we've got to play smart Western hockey. And when we do, it's a team that's capable of winning this tournament, and they could beat anybody. And we've seen it year in and year out. I mean, we've seen it even this season. They've beaten St. Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not to say that Western can't go in and win this tournament. I mean, they've won it even with kind of some lean teams. They've won it in 2013, which was the first year of the CCHA when we kind of struggled a little bit, but we walked in and came away with a tournament title. 2016, we came in and won the GLI. I mean, it's doable, but we have to play our style of hockey, and it'll be interesting to see just kind of what Coach Herder does here with Furschweiler being with Team USA at the World Juniors and him being at the helm. Does he have that
Mm-hmm.
ability to inspire the boys and rally them and get them playing the right way in hopes of spurring a big push here come the second half of the season?
And I think, especially compared to last year, I think a lot of people, even with the guys they were missing, would have said Michigan was the overwhelming favorite to win just because of the talent that they had.
Mm,
This year, I mean,
that's a toss up. I mean, I'm just saying, like, Western split with Michigan last year, and the only reason it was a split was because Michigan won game two in a overtime on a
I,
controversial goal that was waved off to
I,
send it there. I think
I, I know, but I'm saying most people, like most people, would look at this and they would look at last year's and say Michigan. They have the names, they have all these draft picks, whatever, then they wouldn't pay attention. Now, yes, Western was very good, and I knew what Western could do for the year. This year, I don't know anything about the other three teams, but looking at the records and their standings and everything, and just seeing what Michigan Tech did to Miami, I think this is a lot closer. I I don't think there's a clear cut favorite, and it's going back to what you were saying, where you've won it with lean teams. If you play the style of hockey, you can win it, but I think Michigan Tech could win it. Michigan State could win it. Ferris State could come kind of out of the bottom, where I think they're the lowest one out of all four. They could come up and win it. I just think it's going to be a lot of good hockey, and people that are looking at this from a higher level aren't going to be like, well, where did they come from? Like, holy crap, Western Michigan won it? Like they would have last year.
Michigan State's probably the favorite, being ranked 11th, playing good hockey right now. They have the best win loss. Michigan Tech's playing well, and Ferris is kind of stuck in the middle somewhere, and so is Western. Really, if we
Hmm.
do, it's a,
If we're being realistic, yeah.
with the if Western gets the goaltending they need, it's a runaway for Western. That offense is just too strong. It's strong from top to bottom. Those boys get going, it's going to be a bad day for a goal. Any of these goaltenders, they are not missing anybody with Team USA other than Coach Ferschweiler. All the big names are there.
Hmm.
Uh, Goaltending will be the issue. We know that with this team. We don't need we don't need lights out goalie. That we don't need that.
No, no,
We just need good goaltending and better defense. Eat some pucks. Make sure we're clearing the puck the way we're supposed to be. If you're like I said earlier, if you're clearing the puck, do it with intent. Get it out of the zone. Don't limp wrist it trying to make a play so that a guy can carry it up the ice. No, just get the damn thing out of there. You know,
hmm
maybe battle for it at center ice and send it deep or something. But stop giving opportunities away. Make your changes the way that you're supposed to make your changes. Get fresh guys out there. Battle in the corners. Be heavy. Be smart. Make good passes and play your game. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is just play your game. I think talent wise, offense wise, Western's the better team of these four.
Oh,
So
you're the most talented. That's for sure. Like depth wise too.
it's gonna come down to what we get as far as goaltending and defensively.
I think it not even so much goaltending. I think it just comes down to what you do defensively.
If we get the Cam row that played this weekend against North Dakota, and we just play better defense,
Hmm.
we can walk away with this tournament, and it might be
Yeah,
enough to spur the boys on to going on another little run here and work towards home ice. I'm not saying we have to win the conference, just work towards home ice and try and get back to a position where we can make it back to the tournament. One week,
yeah, and unless
take it one weekend at a time, one game at a time, and let's just do the damn thing.
yeah, unless Cam completely shits the bed, it's going to come down to your defense because he's a solid goaltender. Yeah, he gives up some goals that he maybe shouldn't. He's kind of like Devin Dubnyk, probably in his third or fourth year with the Wild. Gives up goals that he shouldn't, but he makes stops that he probably shouldn't either. and it all relies on the defense, because if the defense is solid in front of him, then he will get you the wins. He will stop the puck. It's just a matter of, can you guys clear it and get it to your forwards that are going to bury that puck? They know what to do with it once they get it. That is very clear. Just keep it away from your goalie. Um, so uh question that I have for you is, where does somebody like me watch the Great Lakes Invitational?
I know it used to be on Fox Sports Detroit, which would now be Bally
Bally's.
Sports.
That does
Um,
not help me.
Other than that, I don't know if it's going to be televised. College hockey for sure is not something that really Michigan as a state or TV rights wise gives a shit about, which is unfortunate because there's some really good teams that play in the state, and it would be nice to have some kind of coverage outside of Big Ten Network or NCHC TV, which, don't get me wrong, NCHC TV is great and allows us to watch games that we otherwise wouldn't, but it would be nice to actually have games on. NCHC doesn't show it being on TV anywhere,
Let
so I
me,
don't know that it will be.
which is very unfortunate because I would love to watch that. Um, and conversely to you guys not caring about college hockey, the Minnesota Wild, since they're playing out in Anaheim, they got bumped from the main Bally Sports thing for a high school hockey game in Minnesota, which, good for the kids. They get to play on TV. Still not happy about it. Um, Trying to look this up just so if anybody stumbles across this and wants to watch it and they're not within the market.
I mean, honestly, probably the best thing to do would just be to make sure you're following any of these four teams' social media accounts. They should at least have updates there as far as how the games are going. Maybe there's a couple places that are going to do some live stats type stuff. But other than that,
Mhm.
I don't know of anything.
Well, other than just the NCAA.com, I'm getting an LPGA tour thing, which is not helpful. That is not what I'm looking for. It is not golf season, especially here where it's -7 and wind chill of -22.
Looks like you might be able to watch the Western game on NCHC TV, possibly.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Possibly.
There's a link for radio,
And another one's telling me that
but
the live stream for and college hockey news is saying live stream for NCHC TV.
well,
Maybe, which means maybe the Ferris State Michigan State game could be on either CCHA TV or Big Ten Plus or whatever the hell those use. Possibly.
well, hopefully I'm able to watch at least one of the Western games, because I'm gonna be technically working, but I'll be
Do you say?
working from home, and I need something to watch while I'm doing work those days.
Let's see. Let's see. Do you say anything helpful? You do not.
I was gonna say probably not.
No, this is Bronco Media Network, which is just the radio, which you can search on the internet and at least get the radio stream if you search 106 Jack FM, I believe is what it is.
And I
Kalamazoo.
know NCHC hockey, they have the link to the radio.
Yeah, you can do that too. But if you don't have, I believe it's 106.5 Kalamazoo is the radio broadcast of Western hockey, which has come in helpful in a pinch from time to time, I will say.
I at least know what's happening, and I kind of know who's who now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably tweet about some of it. Sometimes, depending on the game, I like to just enjoy the game and not enjoy my screen. So if you don't see anything about it, that's why. And I'll probably hit the recap in between games because I'll probably be there for all four.
Yeah, if nothing else, at least between periods, you know, just give a all right, Western's up 4-0 after one and
Yeah, but
20-0 after two.
at the for sure, I mean, the intermissions will be for sure if I do anything. It will at least be at the intermissions. But like I said, sometimes I'm just trying to be in the moment and enjoy the game. More people should do that. Quit staring at your phones all the damn time, all right?
Exactly. If you're there, only if there's a stoppage where there's not a lot going on, then you can look at it. But as soon as that puck drops, pay attention. That's why you paid the money. Enjoy it. Have fun. That's why you're there.
I think that'll about do it. Um, Normal YouTube things, hit like, subscribe if you want to. If you don't, that's cool. We would like to get to a point where, maybe this gets monetized. We're only 978 subs away from part of that being accomplished.
Woo!
You can follow us on Twitter. The page name is going across right now. Our personals are on the screen as well under our pictures here. He's Mike. I'm Wes. I think the last thing to say is Pucks on Net. Good things happen, like goal horns and fight songs. We will be back in a couple of weeks to talk about the GLI and look into the next half of the season. Might have a guest. I'm working on it. To know more, actually follow those links around us because I will post on my personal and the page YouTube. If you have any, or Twitter, if you have any questions, send them to those places or email us. The email just went by. Give us some talking points. We're looking to expand and be better every time we do one of these. Other than that, I believe that's it. I've already said the catchphrase, so we are out of here. Have a good one.